What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are gonna be checking out another recommendation. Yes, I'm checking out recommendations all week this week. Let's go. Today we are looking at this video. It says NASCAR's officiating sucks. Bruv, there's always some dodginess going on in racing, so I'm curious to see what this one is gonna tell us. Yes, as usual, this is Elly's production, so you know we're about to have a fantastic time. Let's get it on.
There is no delay of game. We didn't let the team go because we were switching out balls.
Referee.
Okay, I think I may have to put subtitles on because sometimes this accent and my accent, they be fighting. So I'm going to put the subs on and we're going to go from the beginning. Let me see.
There is no delay of game. We didn't let the team go because we were switching out balls.
Referees. The stripe-clad stooges of sports,
this is,
more scrutinized than
NFL.
anyone else on the field. As a player, most of your mistakes are forgivable and usually end up being forgotten. Usually. But as a ref, one bad call can torpedo your entire reputation. You're barred from playoff games, your fellow refs won't even talk to you, and you'll need security guards just to get around. But
that's not a ref. Look at the dunk on that guy. Whoa. I wasn't looking. It was looking at me, okay? I didn't choose to look at it.
You're barred from playoff games. Your fellow refs won't even talk to you, and you'll need...
That's not... That's a TikTok guy, isn't it?
Security guards just to get around.
Is that real? Is that BBL? I don't... Wait, why are we... We're not talking about this. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Stop asking me to talk about it, guys. We're not talking about it, okay?
But even if you make the right call, that still won't stop a barrage of beer cans from raining down on you as the entire crowd yells.
Why you booing me? I'm right.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It truly is one of the most thankless jobs in professional sports, but at least most of the rules are pretty cut and dry.
It's gonna unload that again?
Don't step outside this line. Don't bring the stick over your shoulder. Don't target the player. Don't look at, breathe on, or even think about the umpire. Simple enough, but in motorsports, it's a lot more complicated. In addition to on-track etiquette, there's a tome's worth of rules regarding construction of the vehicles themselves. While NASCAR is known for its rich history of folks bending the rules, innovation has never been more frowned upon. With the advent of NASCAR's next-gen car,
it does piss me off though. Every time they innovate something and they're looking good. Like right now, Mercedes are looking good with the innovation, but people are like, oh my God, no, you're too fast. Why didn't your engineers think about it too? Hey? And then they look at people. Well, I said Mercedes, I'm talking about Formula One, I'm sorry. Then now they want the FIA to change the regulations to say, no, you're not allowed to have that. Same with Ferrari. They've designed a turbo that is good enough to get off the starting line with no trouble, but no, they're begging people to change the rules and the regulations about we need more time for our turbos to spool. Bruv, you had these same regulation sheets. If somebody were to bend it a little bit, that's them. That's the advantage. Deal with it. I know I'm going on a rant. I'm sorry, man. But it just annoys me that they have to change the rules because somebody was clever enough to do something crazy. Yeah, the rules.
Bending the rules, innovation has never been more frowned upon. With the advent of NASCAR's next-gen car, designated manufacturers are now designing and delivering parts to the teams, forcing some of the greatest mechanics in the world to put aside their own ambition and build, as Kyle Busch puts it, Walmart cars. The silver lining is that smaller teams now have a
Walmart cars, basically cars you can just pick off the shelf, right?
Chance to join in the spotlight, but as we'll come to see, not all that glitters is gold. Sometimes it's the sparks from a blown tire, or the fire from a blown motor. While mechanical failures are frustrating, they're also incredibly complicated. Anything from a Dorito bag to a suicidal jackrabbit can put your car in the garage. What isn't
What's a suicidal jackrabbit? What? Oh, right. I get it. Something running onto the track. A jackrabbit. Yeah. Sorry. Blonde moment right there.
Complicated, however? Bad calls. So join me as we tackle a topic that is and always has been NASCAR's Achilles heel.
Okay. I want to see what calls they make and how crazy they were. Is it like stopping people and banning them from racing or something to say, yeah, drive-through penalties?
Now, when I say officiating, I don't just mean the safety penguins. I mean everybody. From the R&D Center in Concord to the ISC building in Daytona, from the on-site officials to the tire and part manufacturers. The scope of my rage is all-inclusive, and no one is safe from the scrutiny. So let's begin by taking a trip to everyone's favorite track,
Texas Motorway.
It's once again
Let's
time
go.
for the All-Star race, where the best in our sport...
I know I said that incorrectly, but sometimes I think I am a bit dyslexic. I don't even know what it is. I saw Texas Speed Raceway and I said Texas Motorway. I apologize.
continue to fight for less and less value. And for the second time, it's being held at the Texas Motor Speedway... Well, hey, Vegas and Kansas were pretty good. Maybe a little horsepower is all we needed to make this race great. Well, hey, at least the format isn't too complicated. Well, hey, at least we can get some good green flag racing. Yeah, this race was fucking painful. But at least Ryan Blaney would come away with the win.
Caution waves. Really? We're going to go back racing, boys.
What?
What? But it's the last lap. What do you mean caution? Goddamn motherfuckers. Every single one of them.
Hi there, casual viewers. You may be confused as to what the fuck you just saw. You see, usually when the leader takes...
Whoa! Do I need to get a swear jar out for this one? There's a lot of swearing going on. I love it. Yes, he's breaking character completely. He doesn't usually swear in his videos, but he's definitely on there today. Shit. Fuck. Let's go. Let's go back.
Hi there, casual viewers. You may be confused as to what the fuck you just saw. You see, usually when the leader takes the white flag, the next flag will end the race.
It should
Meaning
be
that
the
whether
end.
they make it around the track or promptly throw a caution, the race is over. But as you can see right here in the very fine print, they changed the rule so that it has to end under the green flag. Meaning if a caution...
Wait, sorry. I think he's still ranting in the background because I can still hear him. Still... Is he okay? Does somebody need to check on Elly after this video? Bro, he's
Very
still
fine
going off in the
They
background.
changed the rule so that it has to end under the green flag. Meaning if a caution comes out at any point before the end of the race, even on the last lap, there has to be a restart. Oh, all right, fair enough. What was the caution for anyway?
You see him up out of the groove, Stenhouse, and into the wall.
That was a
Hi
caution.
again. You may be wondering, why did they throw a caution? Well, it's really quite simple. You see, they felt like they... My guess is that someone got a little too trigger happy with the caution button, which is...
I said exactly the same thing when I first started reacting to NASCAR, and we watched a random video where they were just throwing cautions every time somebody was spinning, like a little spin, even when they correct it and they don't spin out completely. Say somebody just go slightly loosey-goosey on the side and put the opposite lock on. Caution is out, like stop, everything you're doing is dangerous. And I was like, bro, there's too many cautions. So it turns out there are situations where it actually is too much.
This happened before, but on the final lap, coming to the line, after one of the most painfully dull races we've ever had to sit through, come on.
Does that mean he could lose
I
the
do,
lead,
but I won't.
then won it?
He's got his, sees, he already had his window net down.
All right, so yeah, he'll have to get that back up. So let's.
Race isn't over?
For 5 laps that felt like an eternity, Ryan Blaney struggled to put his window net back up. And for 5 laps, NASCAR sat scratching their heads. They laid their bed and now they had to lie in it. Either they could force Blaney to pit and effectively take away his victory, or leave him out, risking his safety in the process.
Or they could have let him fix it and keep his position, but we're not going to talk about that.
They ended up going with option 2, and with a partially fastened window net, Ryan Blaney became the first driver to win a single race twice, leading many to joke that he should have gotten $2 million for his troubles. The check, however, would remain unchanged.
$1
And if
million.
not for a crazy near flip on the front stretch, this race would have been completely forgettable.
Imagine he actually lost the race and loses $1 million check and it goes to somebody else. Oh man, that would have changed everything. That probably would have changed some rules about that yellow flag for sure. Or I would have kicked something if I was the driver for sure.
At least the deserved driver still got the win, but that wouldn't stop this race from living on in infamy as the worst all-star race ever. Well, despite that shit show, the season continued on, and while there were lots of tire blowouts, flaming tempers, and trivial wrecks causing injuries, people were enjoying it. The racing was better, new drivers were winning, and most importantly, none of it was tainted by those meddling officials. Life was good, but little did we know the all-star race was just the beginning.
Oh no. Oh no. It's happening. Get yourself to safety now.
Whoever decided to hold the cutoff race here honestly deserves a raise. I could give or take holding it at a place like Richmond, but under the playoff format, there is no better wild card than the World Center of Racing. And after Kevin Harvick's surprise back-to-back wins, there's just one playoff spot up for grabs. Oh, hello? What? Okay, I guess there are 2 spots up for grabs. Kurt Busch, having been sidelined for a concussion and unable to race in the postseason, relinquished his spot in the playoffs. This allowed both
unlucky.
Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex to take a breath and relax, as both of them enter the race sitting comfortably above the cut line. But anyone who's watched long enough knows what happens to those who get just a little too comfortable at Daytona.
And around goes the 11, the 20 also around.
I don't feel like it's anybody that's comfortable. It's literally anybody. Don't go into NASCAR race thinking you're not gonna crash. You have to go in there knowing that your chances of survival is like 1%. Okay, it's crazy out there.
Ryan Blaney caught up in this in the 12.
They're wrecking.
Oh, yeah.
Middle wrecking here. Stay where you are. Stay where you are. Stay where you are.
By the end of the race, it was basically a battle of survival. But with so many winless drivers jockeying at the front of the pack, it was still anyone's game. Even Justin Haley, who won a rain-shortened race here 3 years ago, looks like he could sneak his way in. This has all the makings of a classic finish.
Oh, into the wall they go. The 11 now also caught up in it.
Jesus Christ.
Haley.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, never mind. In one of the craziest turns
Everyone.
ever taken, 5 cars did a synchronized dance into the turn 1 wall, collecting almost the entire field with the exception of Austin Dillon, who, channeling his inner Lightning McQueen, shot up from 16th to 1st. So what the hell happened?
There's something down there that's reducing grip.
It's called water, idiot.
Oh, it's the rain, is it?
He is so stupid.
This meant that Austin Dillon would have to hold off, let's see, Landon Castle? BJ McLeod? Cody Ware? Yeah, it was pretty much a done deal by the time they hit 2 to go, which turned a lot of heads toward the officials. NASCAR's been known to call cautions for as much as a light sprinkle, but between this and New Hampshire last year, they just can't seem to catch it anymore. Now, in their defense, rain can pop up on a dime, especially in Florida, but that provides little solace for the teams that now had a junkyard of cars to pay for, the fans who stuck it out for 2 days just to see a mediocre finish, and most of all, Martin Truex, who, after winning the championship and finishing runner-up in 3 of the next 4 seasons, wouldn't even get a chance at the top 16. Martin Truex Jr., the 2017 champion, would miss the 2022 playoffs. But like I said, rain can happen pretty fast. Maybe they just didn't see it.
I did react to that recently about the rain just falling out of nowhere. And people in the comment section, thank you very much for telling me. They said it's Florida, anything can happen. Because I was like, don't they have radars? And you lot said, yep, they are radars, but at the same time, it just happens. And that actually brought me back to reality because I live in England where, yeah, we like just the other day, we had 4 seasons in a day. We had sun, we had hailstones, we had goddamn almost snow, rain, and then it was sunshine again. And right now it's actually freezing cold again. So I get it.
Maybe this was just a fluke.
Can't be a fluke. It's going to happen again. Lightning.
It's the first race of the playoffs, and today's soup of the day, crappy-ass parts. Joe Gibbs seems to have the class of the field, with MTJ pulling away and Kyle Busch following in chase, saying,
I want whatever the 19's got. Holy moly.
well, his wish was his command because after Truex was sidelined for a mechanical failure, Kyle Busch would befall the same fate, smoke screening the front stretch to a chorus of cheers.
That engine went bye-bye.
Crazy. They are either love or hate Kyle Busch as a fan.
Now, none of this was the officials' fault, per se, but there is one more mishap I forgot to mention. Earlier in the race, during green flag stops, Kevin Harvick's right front rocker assembly caught fire on the backstretch. The cameras didn't pick it up until he was entering turn 1, and by then, thick black smoke was filling the cockpit. I guess they should throw a caution.
No caution?
I said, I guess they should throw a caution.
No caution?
All right,
What are
throw
they
it
doing?
now. Okay, now.
There's a dangerous car on the track.
Anytime now. Holy shit. 17 seconds. They waited 17 seconds to throw a caution for a fireball careening down the front stretch. And that's just from when the camera feed switched. Remember, he had been on fire a whole half lap before this.
He's been going
they
slow for a
effectively
long
waited
time.
a whole lap after Harvick's car caught fire to actually throw the caution. Not when he missed pit road, not when he came down in front of oncoming traffic, and not when he stopped on the apron. They threw it when he was already halfway out of the car. The leaders were still passing him at full speed as he was standing on the racetrack.
Did he do something wrong to the officials? Did they want to get him killed? Is that what it is? Did they say something wrong or say something about them in the last race? Because they be holding grudges sometimes, you know? So, hey.
I don't care how far out of the way he was. That is unacceptable.
What a disaster, man. We didn't touch the wall, we didn't touch the car, and here we are in the pits with a burned up car and can't finish the race during the playoffs because of crappy ass parts.
But once again, maybe they just didn't see it. I'm sure it won't happen again.
Who was that jab at? I felt a little jab. like a little 1-2. He said it was blaming the crappy parts. So I'm guessing it was blaming the manufacturers for some reason. You know what I'm saying? Who was he directing that to? Was it NASCAR itself? Because they provide all the cars, right? Or somebody else?
Because of crappy ass parts.
But once again, maybe they just didn't see it. I'm sure it won't happen again. Well, Mother Nature's back for a third straight week, and NASCAR's had enough. On the Saturday before, rain began to pour down on the Xfinity Series race, and instead of attempting to wait it out, or, this, NASCAR called the race early and postponed the Cup race the next day. It was contested at first, but would prove to be the right call. Yep, NASCAR's officials finally made a good call.
Yay!
But of course, it wouldn't be long before disaster struck again. With the pressure of elimination coming to a head at the last great Coliseum, sparks were bound to fly. Those sparks would come from the rims of blown tires. That's right, for the second week in a row, Goodyear was caught with its pants down, which honestly sucks. The Bristol night race has always been a fan favorite, producing some of NASCAR's greatest moments, but tonight would produce no such highlights as part and tire failures would plague the field once again.
BMW drivers are going crazy right now because I think Goodyear is the manufacturer sponsor for BMWs. Every single one of them comes with Goodyear. I think, maybe, yeah.
What caught people's attention, however, weren't the tire failures themselves, but the way the officials were reacting. With under 100 laps to go, Brad Keselowski took the lead only to blow a right front tire and slam the wall.
Wow.
He puttered around for a whole lap, eventually finding his way to pit lane, but no caution was thrown. Meanwhile, the same thing would happen to Christopher Bell about 20 laps later, only this time they threw the caution immediately.
Damn.
No joke, they literally threw the caution as he was still spinning out. 2 blown tires, in the same spot, with the same result, and yet 2 different calls.
Well, I guess they learned from the first one, Maybe somebody told them, listen, make sure you throw that caution if that happens again. You know what I'm saying?
Yikes. Chris Buescher's win certainly quelled the pain for RFK, but the cracks were beginning to show. These are the playoffs, where everyone, especially NASCAR, needs to be at the top of their game. The last thing you want is your championship established off of some BS call or inexplicable mishap.
I have a question about this caution stuff because I don't know much about it. If there's a caution, say somebody was in 15th place and they were spinning out just like that, or their tire blew out, and they throw a caution, do they retain that 15th place or do they go back to the back of the grid, basically? Because I'm trying to see where the difference was between the two people earlier. If the first guy lost positions because of caution and this guy did not lose position, that's what I'm trying to get at. Please let me know.
At this point, all NASCAR needs is 1 week without controversy. 1 week of good, clean, enjoyable racing. Oh, fuck! That's right.
Check
the
on
first
Elly.
race in the round of 12, we're back in hell. And if the others were minor bumps in the road, this was a full-blown rock slide. I won't sugarcoat it. This race is the reason why I even made this video. It was that bad. I would sit here and explain exactly what happened, but some jokes just write themselves.
The 18 of Kyle Busch is into the wall.
It's killed, right?
Oh, we got another spin.
Another one.
Another turn. Yeah.
Oh, and into the wall, the 9 of Chase Elliott. Out of turn 4, Chase Elliott into the wall. You see the fire coming out the right side.
Oh, that's a big
Buescher
fire.
rings out the caution for the 12th time today.
12
And
cautions.
Into the wall, the 4 blue and right rear tire.
Make it 13.
Race leader Mark Truex Jr. has
15.
just wrecked.
Does that mean 14? Maybe.
Unbelievable what we're seeing here in Texas.
Oh my
This
God.
is why tire blowouts are so dangerous. The car is meant to be a mere extension of the driver, but when you lose control, your life is in the hands of nothing but physics and fate. And the worst part is, this wasn't even the worst crash of the weekend. Oh, whoop, sorry, that's the wrong one.
Oh, the 48 car's crashing into the wall. Bowman.
Now, would you believe me if I said that this driver would walk away unscathed, while this driver would have to miss the next 5 races for a head injury? Yep, a car built 15 years ago with an airplane wing bolted to the back is somehow safer than the next gen. NASCAR spent over 2 decades making wrecks feel more like an inconvenience than a matter of life or death, but now the drivers are back in harm's way, with their bodies being forced to take on most of the impact. And between Dale Jr.'s career-ending concussion just a few years earlier, Kurt Busch's absence since Pocono, and now Alex Bowman being out for the same thing, paranoia surrounding the new car is at an all-time high. And as usual, NASCAR doesn't have an answer. Oh shit, Denny Hamlin just got spun. And under caution, too. NASCAR's not going to be happy with whoever did that. Huh? What do you mean they didn't fucking see it? One of the 3 fans in the stands could have seen that. I mean, they threw a caution for this. How did not one of them see this? VP of competition Scott Miller said it was because they were focused on the cleanup, but I'm calling bullshit. All they had to do was move a single car, something they've already done many times today. There is absolutely no excuse for not seeing it, mentioning it, or even having a replay of it. They had a whole 3 minutes and 30 seconds to at least deduce what had happened, but they didn't. And while Byron went unpenalized, Hamlin was relegated to the back of the field for failing to maintain caution speed.
Wow.
Just everything about this race was just a mess.
Race control needs a complete overhaul. At this point, they're missing calls that I didn't even know were possible to miss.
Wow. Usually, when they do what? I'm going to relate this to Formula 1. When somebody crashes off camera or wherever and they were going to penalize, they would at least review the footage to make sure they're doing some sort of justice. Yeah, not always the correct responses, but they still have a lot of footages from the car, from the telemetries and everything. They check all of that to make sure they were following the rules and they're not following the rules, wherever the case may be. But these guys, they just went, oh yeah, we saw you spin out and you were going too fast. Back of the line, mate. Nah, that's jokes. That is jokes.
For NASCAR to say they don't have eyes on this is asinine. Don't tell me you don't have eyes on it. If the spotter did his job and the crew chief did his job, it tells me you didn't do your job.
At this point, there was nothing they could do. Rain can come from out of nowhere. Tire failures can be hard to prevent, and what constitutes a caution can be a total toss-up. But as a sanctioning body, what you absolutely, positively cannot do under any circumstance is allow an intentional wreck, because in doing so, you become obsolete. And as we've seen in the racing world many times before, all that lies in the ruins of irrelevance is chaos.
Chaos isn't a pit. Chaos is a ladder.
Nice. But they're always crashing into each other, though. I don't understand this part.
With all the controversy dogging them throughout the year, this was their chance to prove the doubters wrong, to show that they were competent and could still be trusted to run the sport. But they squandered it, and now it was too late. All they could do now was atone for their mistakes, pick up the pieces, and trudge forward.
No, they don't.
The fallout from Texas left Alex Bowman out with a concussion, and teammate William Byron now being scored below the cut line. Looks like NASCAR finally caught wind of what happened, albeit about 48 hours too late. And with a $50,000 fine and a 25-point penalty to boot, he'd have to do some serious digging if he wanted to get out of that hole. And as much as people feared that the next-gen safety would be tested yet again, the Talladega race would go off without a hitch, featuring only one wreck caused by NASCAR's greatest pusher. Remember that penalty given to William Byron? Control Z. Yeah, after some very convincing persuasion on the part of Hendrick Motorsports and a really stupid loophole in the rulebook, Byron's fine is doubled, but in return his points penalty is completely rescinded. That's right, we went through a whole-ass race weekend with incorrect points. And the kicker? What? Byron would end up making the next round by just 10 points, well within the margin of being eliminated had the penalty stood. Also, remember Cole Custer? I sure don't, but NASCAR does, and they caught him with a case of itchy arm syndrome on the backstretch. The penalty? $100,000 and 50 points.
Stop! He's already dead.
Now I know what you're thinking. Where was that penalty here? A somber mood looms over Sin City as a hometown hero makes an abrupt announcement.
I'll be stepping away from full-time NASCAR Cup Series competition in 2023.
Wow.
My long-term health is priority number one, and I don't feel committing at this point to compete for a championship next year is in my best interest or the best interest of the team.
If you had told 6-year-old me, a diehard Tony Stewart fan who had more than a few reservations about this guy, that I'd be crying at his retirement, I'd say you're crazy. But it
didn't even sound like he wanted to resign. It looked like somebody else was making him say those words. Like, he's saying it, but he wasn't convinced by it. It was like, why are you making me do this, man? I still want to race. No, that's so sad that you have to do that for yourself.
More than a few reservations about this guy, that I'd be crying at his retirement, I'd say you're crazy. But I think that just goes to show how impactful his journey has been. He was a champion of over 2 decades, a heel turned face, a top dog turned underdog who always seemed to defy the odds no matter where he drove or who he drove for. He may have started as an outlaw, but in the end there were few as jovial and humble as Kurt Busch. And although we'll still see him around, for the fans this felt like one last gut punch, one that demanded something be done. And done something would be. At this point, NASCAR had already started holding meetings with the drivers to keep them up to speed and to hear what they had to say, while also starting to devote research into improvements that could be made for next year. But as for now, as for this race, the officials would be forced to step up one more time.
Oh, and into the wall goes Bubba Wallace. And
Oh!
he comes back across the track, tags the 5.
Did he?
The wall, the caution comes out.
He sent it. He sent it at him like that's a revenge move right there. That was not accidental. He saw him, locked him in his target, and he fully sent it. Even though he bounced off the wall, he could use that as an excuse to say, I bounced off the wall, I had no control. But we know, man, he sent it
one more time.
Oh, and into the wall goes Bubba Wallace. And he comes back across the track, tags the 5. They're both in the wall, the caution comes out.
Up the 20 car, Christopher Bell hard into the outside wall.
Oh, that 20
From a
car
PR
as well.
standpoint, this is about the worst thing that could have possibly happened from every conceivable angle. On one side, you have the defending champion showing a complete disregard for his competitors, running the lone African-American driver into the wall, not too long after being suspended for publicly saying a racial slur. And on the other side, a guy who's only in the car that...
I'm offended now. Yes, I'm taking that personal, okay? Go on, Mr. Wallace, take him out.
He's in because of an inherent lack of safety, mowing down someone like a heat-seeking missile, and then proceeding to try and fight him. This was NASCAR's worst nightmare, a situation where any decision, no matter what, would have inevitably pissed off millions. And while NASCAR usually lets the boys have at it, the circumstances surrounding the car, the fans, and the weekend as a whole just wouldn't allow it. They knew they had to do something, and they did.
NASCAR announced on Tuesday
They're gonna find Bubba Wallace, winner.
that 2311 racing driver Bubba Wallace has been suspended for 1 race following his actions last weekend at Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Of course, there were some who thought he shouldn't have been suspended at all, while others thought he should have just been straight up banned from the sport.
Wow.
Facebook, it's such a lovely place. But if you want my opinion, I think the penalty was completely fair. They needed to do something that would discourage this kind of behavior, but not so much as to show animosity towards a particular driver. They needed to draw a line. And as long as they're willing to enforce it consistently from here on out, I see no issue.
Everyone that takes anybody out intentionally gets a ban. Straight up.
Oh, come on, this is NASCAR we're talking about. I'm sure they'll find a way to fuck it up at some point, but for now, Kyle Larson would go on to win the following week, and once Bubba returned at Martinsville, it was like nothing had ever happened. Maybe they thought the penalties were fair. Maybe they let bygones be bygones. Or maybe they were just distracted by something else.
And the fight for the point.
Oh, this guy, war riding.
I have never seen anything like that before in my life.
Wide open, around the wall in 3 and 4 at Martinsville.
I will no doubt be making a separate video for Ross Chastain, but for now, let's just focus on the rules. NASCAR has never had anything against sending it, as more often than not, it just doesn't work. And even when it does, the best you can do is pick up 1 additional spot. But now, the secret's out. With the sturdy construction of the next gen and its additional 5th gear, hauling the wall may become the next slingshot. And fellow drivers were simultaneously commending and detesting the move, with most of them saying that while it was cool, it shouldn't be allowed to happen again. Kyle Larson in particular, having been both a victim and a user of this move, called it embarrassing and a bad look for the sport. Well, considering it had Hank Green talking about the physics of NASCAR, I'd say that couldn't be further from the truth. But it does raise a good question. What are they going to do about it? There's a very real possibility that from here on out, anyone within striking distance of the leader will just full throttle the last corner. First, second place, then third, then fourth, and before you know it, you have an entire field of cars shredding the wall on the final lap. Now that is a bad look for the sport.
That would be hilarious.
Now NASCAR's going to fix it? I don't know. It's a problem that literally pushes the boundaries of what's possible for a race car, and it'll be interesting to see what they cook up for next year. Next year. That's really all that matters, isn't it? Now, I know you just listened to 19 minutes of me dwelling on the past, but all that really matters is what happens from here on out. Sure, last season may have had some of the lowest lows, but it also had some pretty high highs. Not every change panned out perfectly, but it's still something to build on. And as for the officials, they've already started making improvements. They missed the rain, but now they're throwing cautions at the first drop. They didn't always catch everything, but now they have cameras of every car in the field. They allowed an intentional wreck to go unanswered, but now they're penalizing them accordingly. Should some of these things have been allowed to happen in the first place? Absolutely not. But make no mistake, work is being done. I started this video by comparing them to referees, but they're a lot more like
Christ.
the kicker of a football team. When they do their job right, nobody bats an eye, but when they don't, everybody lets them know it. So as we usher in a new season in 2023, let's hope that NASCAR makes the improvements that it needs. Because as of right now, there's nowhere to go but up.
Well, another amazing video by Elly Production. Thank you very much for the recommendations. Yes, the officials do get it wrong quite a lot of times. Yeah, trust me, I know this from Formula One. They are never consistent. That is the main problem, is the consistency with the rules and the penalties that they give people, like 5-second penalty, 10 seconds penalty, drive through. They just look at it and be like, no, that's hard racing. No, that's a 10 seconds, depending on who it is. And that is so frustrating many times. Yes, I hate it when all of that shit happens. But hey, it is racing and things like that do happen, unfortunately. So yeah, thank you very much for watching this one, guys. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in the next one. Take it easy. Goodbye. Peace.